Have you ever been in a conversation where suddenly silence and your mind just goes completely blank? You're standing there, panicking, thinking, what do I say now? While the other person is looking at you, waiting, and every second feels like an eternity.
Yeah, and here's the real question. Why do awkward silences happen? And more importantly, can we actually train our brains to never run out of things to say? Drop your answer in the comments below. We'd love to hear about your most awkward silence moment and how you handled it, or didn't handle it.
Hey everyone, I'm Sarah.
And I'm Johnny. And welcome to Native Speakers.
We're your friendly neighborhood English teachers, and we're here to help you speak English like it's your first language, not your second, third, or fourth.
Today, we're tackling something that literally every English learner and honestly even native speakers struggle with, those dreaded, awkward silences. You know, when you're having a great conversation and then suddenly, crickets.
So stick around because by the end of this video, you'll have practical techniques, real conversation strategies, and the confidence to keep any conversation flowing naturally. Let's dive in.
All right, Sarah, let me start with a confession. Last week, I was at a coffee shop and I bumped into an old colleague I hadn't seen in years. We said hello, asked how each other was doing, and then nothing. Complete silence. It lasted maybe 5 seconds, but it felt like 5 minutes.
Only 5 seconds? That's actually not too bad, but I totally get it. That panic that sets in is real. So let's break this down scientifically first. Then we'll get super practical. Johnny, why do you think awkward silences happen in the first place?
I think it's because we run out of obvious topics. Like, we do the basic, how are you, how's work, and then our brain freezes.
Exactly. And there's actually a psychological reason for this. Our brains have what's called conversational scripts. These are pre-programmed patterns we follow in social situations. When we meet someone, we automatically go, greeting, small talk about the weather or health, maybe ask about work or family, and then, if we don't have a deeper connection or shared interest, the script ends.
Oh, that makes so much sense. So we're basically running out of script, not running out of things to say.
Precisely. And here's the good news. We can expand our conversational library. We can train ourselves to have more tools in our conversational toolkit.
Okay, so how do we do that? Give me the first technique.
Technique number 1 is what I call the art of observation. Instead of living inside your own head during a conversation, become genuinely curious about your environment and the person you're talking to.
Can you give me an example?
Sure, let's role play. Pretend we just met at a networking event and we've already done the basic introductions. We've hit that potential awkward silence moment. Watch what I do. Pause. You know what, Johnny? I notice you have a really interesting watch. Is there a story behind it?
Looking at imaginary watch. Oh, this. Yeah, actually my grandfather gave it to me before he passed away. He was a pilot, and this was his flight watch.
No way! That's incredible. So did he fly commercially or was he in the military?
He flew for the Air Force for 20 years, and then... See what just happened there?
Exactly. We went from potential silence to a meaningful conversation just by observing something specific about you. The key word is specific. Don't just say, nice shirt. That's too generic and kills the conversation. Instead, notice details. An unusual piece of jewelry, a book they're carrying, a pin on their backpack, or even their coffee order.
So I should basically become Sherlock Holmes?
Kind of, yeah. But here's the important part. Your observation needs to lead to an open-ended question. Don't ask yes-no questions like, do you like coffee? Instead, ask, what made you choose that particular coffee drink? Or have you always been into that style?
Okay, so technique 1 is observe and ask open-ended questions. What's technique 2?
Technique number 2 is the conversation bridge. This is where you take whatever topic you were just discussing and bridge it to a related topic. Think of it like building stepping stones across a river. Each stone is connected to the next one.
I love this technique. Can we demonstrate it?
Let's do it. Okay, so imagine we're talking about the weather. Classic small talk, right? I might say, "Wow, it's really hot today, isn't it?"
Yeah, it's brutal. I can barely stand being outside.
This is where the bridge happens. You know, this heat reminds me of when I went to Arizona last summer. Have you ever been to the Southwest?
Oh, I actually went to New Mexico a few years ago. The landscapes there are unbelievable.
See what I did? I took weather and bridged it to travel. From there, we could bridge food travel, like, did you try any local cuisine there? Then from food to cooking, do you like to cook? Then from cooking to hobbies, and suddenly we've had a 20-minute conversation that started with the weather.
The beauty of this technique is that you're not forcing random topics. You're naturally flowing from one idea to the next. Everything connects logically so the conversation feels organic, not awkward.
Exactly. And here's a pro tip. Listen for key words in what the other person says. Those key words are your bridge materials. If someone mentions they're tired because they were up late, the key word might be late night. You could bridge to what kept you up? A good book, work, binge watching a series?
Yes, and for English learners specifically, this technique is amazing because you don't need to know a million topics. You just need to know how to connect ideas. It's like having conversational Legos. You can build anything as long as you know how the pieces fit together.
All right, technique number 3 is my personal favorite, and I call it the thought sharing method. This is when you literally verbalize what you're thinking or feeling in the moment.
Wait, you mean like thinking out loud?
Exactly, but strategically. Let me show you. Imagine we're at that same networking event and there's a lull in the conversation. Instead of panicking, I could say something like, "You know, I'm trying to think of what else to ask you because you seem really interesting and I don't want this conversation to end awkwardly."
Oh, that's brilliant. You're being vulnerable and honest, which actually makes you more relatable.
Right. It takes the pressure off both people. You could also say things like, "I just realized I've been talking about myself a lot. Tell me more about you." Or, "This might sound random, but I was just thinking about," or, "I'm blanking on how to ask this properly, but I'm curious about." So you're acknowledging the potential awkwardness before it becomes actually awkward.
Precisely. And here's why this works from a psychological standpoint. Humans connect through authenticity. When you admit you're thinking or searching for something to say, you're being genuine. Most people appreciate that more than someone who pretends to have everything figured out.
I love this because it's also culturally intelligent. In English-speaking cultures, especially in North America, being real and authentic is valued. People would rather have an honest, slightly imperfect conversation than a perfectly scripted but robotic one. Absolutely. And for our English learners watching, this technique permits you to be imperfect. You can literally say, "I'm still working on my English, so give me a second to find the right words." And most native speakers will be patient and encouraging.
Okay, story time. Sarah, remember when we first met? Tell everyone what happened.
Oh no, are we doing this?
We're absolutely doing this.
Fine. So, Johnny and I met at a teaching conference 3 years ago. We were seated next to each other at lunch, and we did the usual introductions. Then we both took bites of our food at the same time, and there was this silence. I was chewing, he was chewing, and we were just staring at our plates.
It was the most awkward 30 seconds of my life.
But then Johnny used technique 3, the thought sharing method. Tell them what you said.
I swallowed my food and said, "Well, this is awkward. We're both teachers who talk for a living, and we've run out of things to say in under 2 minutes. That's got to be some kind of record."
And I immediately started laughing because he just named the elephant in the room. From there, we started talking about funny teaching moments, awkward classroom experiences, and we've been friends ever since.
The moral of the story? Awkward moments are only truly awkward if you let them be. If you acknowledge them with humor and honesty, they become connection points instead of conversation killers.
Before we wrap up, let's give everyone a bonus technique: conversation stockpiling.
Ooh, I like the sound of this already.
This is something you do before the conversation even starts. Basically, you stockpile interesting topics, questions, and stories that you can pull out when needed. Think of it as your emergency conversation kit.
So, like carrying a mental backpack full of conversation starters?
Exactly. Here's what you put in your backpack. First, current events that aren't controversial. Things like new movie releases, interesting scientific discoveries, local events, or viral positive news stories.
Right, so nothing about politics or religion. Those can create different kinds of awkward silences.
True. Second, personal stories that are universally relatable. Maybe a funny thing that happened to you recently, a travel mishap, or a lesson you learned. People love stories.
Third, I'd add interesting questions. Not interview-style questions, but thought-provoking ones. Like, if you could learn any skill instantly, what would it be? Or, what's the best advice you've ever received?
Yes, and fourth, genuine compliments or observations. But remember, be specific. Instead of saying, "You seem nice," try, "I really appreciate how thoughtful your comments have been. Are you in a field that requires a lot of critical thinking?"
The beauty of stockpiling is that you're never caught off guard. You always have something in your mental reserve that you can pull out. And over time, as you have more conversations, your stockpile grows naturally because you'll remember what works and what doesn't. Let's do a quick practice exercise for everyone watching. We're going to demonstrate a conversation using all three techniques plus the bonus. Johnny and I will play strangers meeting at a coffee shop. Watch for the techniques. Sounds good. Oh, sorry, did I take your usual seat? No, you're fine. I just noticed you have a laptop with a lot of interesting stickers. Are you a designer or something? Technique 1, observation plus open question. Actually, I'm a teacher, but I collect stickers from places I've traveled. This one's from Tokyo, this one's from Iceland. No way. I've always wanted to go to Iceland. What took you there? Technique 2, conversation bridge, from stickers to travel. I went for the Northern Lights. It was absolutely magical. Have you done much traveling? I've done a bit, but honestly, I'm trying to figure out where to go next, and I'm overwhelmed by all the options. Any suggestions? Technique 3, thought sharing, admitting overwhelm. Well, if you liked the idea of Iceland, you might also love Norway or even New Zealand. They both have incredible natural landscapes. And just like that, we've had a flowing, natural conversation. No awkward silences, just smooth transitions from one topic to the next. Now let's address some common fears English learners have about conversations. Sarah, what's the #1 fear you hear? What if I don't understand what they say and the silence is because I'm confused, not because I don't have anything to say? That's a legitimate concern. Here's what you do. Use technique 3 and be honest. Say something like, "Sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Could you say it again?" Or, "I'm not familiar with that term. What does it mean?" Exactly. Native speakers ask for clarification all the time. It's completely normal. In fact, asking for clarification shows you're engaged and interested in the conversation, which actually makes you a better conversation partner. Another fear? What if I run out of vocabulary? Here's the secret. You don't need advanced vocabulary to have great conversations. You need curiosity and the willingness to use the words you do know creatively. Yes, instead of saying ubiquitous, you can say everywhere or very common. Instead of melancholy, say feeling kind of sad. The goal is communication, not impressing people with fancy words. And remember, even native speakers forget words sometimes. I can't tell you how many times I've said, the thing that does the thing, and gesture wildly, and everyone knows exactly what I mean. So true. Language is about connection, not perfection. Let's talk about something important: cultural differences in conversation. Johnny, in American culture, what's the typical approach to silence? Americans tend to fill silence quickly. We're not super comfortable with long pauses, so we often jump in with questions or comments. But in other cultures, silence can be a sign of respect or thoughtfulness.
Exactly. If you're from a culture where silence is normal and comfortable, you might find English conversations feel rushed. On the flip side, if you're used to faster-paced conversations, you might think the other person isn't interested if they're quiet.
The key is awareness. If you're talking with someone from a different cultural background, permit yourself to adapt. Maybe slow down a bit or speed up a bit. Pay attention to their rhythm and try to match it.
And if you're unsure, you can always ask, are you needing a moment to think? Or am I talking too much? These questions show cultural sensitivity and can actually deepen the connection.
Here's what I want everyone watching to remember. Awkward silences are not failures. They're opportunities.
That's beautiful, Johnny. Can you elaborate?
Sure, every silence is an opportunity to practice these techniques, to get creative, to connect more deeply with another person. The most interesting conversations often happen after that initial awkward moment because both people relax and stop trying so hard.
I love that perspective. And here's my encouragement. Start small. You don't need to become a conversation expert overnight. Maybe this week just practice technique 1, observation. Notice details about people and ask one specific question. Next week, practice bridging topics. Build your skills gradually.
And be patient with yourself. Even native speakers have awkward conversations sometimes. What separates confident communicators from everyone else isn't that they never experience awkward moments, it's that they've learned to navigate through them without panicking.
Remember, every single person you meet is also worried about awkward silences. You're not alone in this. When you take the initiative to keep a conversation going, the other person is usually relieved and grateful.
All right, let's recap everything we've covered today about how to never run out of things to say and end awkward silences instantly.
Technique 1, the art of observation. Notice specific details about the person or environment and ask open-ended questions.
Technique 2, the conversation bridge. Connect topics naturally by using key words and flowing from one subject to related subjects.
Technique 3, the thought-sharing method. Verbalize what you're thinking or feeling to create authentic, vulnerable moments of connection.
And our bonus technique? Conversation stockpiling. Prepare interesting topics, stories, and questions in advance so you always have something in reserve.
We also talked about overcoming common fears, understanding cultural differences, and most importantly, permitting yourself to be imperfect.
The bottom line? Conversations are skills, and skills can be learned, practiced, and improved. You've got this.
If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss our future lessons. We post new English learning content every week right here on Native Speakers.
And seriously, drop a comment below. Tell us about your most awkward silent story, or let us know which technique you're going to try first. We read every comment and love hearing from you.
Also, if you want more conversation practice, check out our other videos on small talk, business English, and casual expressions. We've got tons of content to help you speak English confidently.
Until next time, keep practicing, keep learning, and remember,
You're not just learning English, you're becoming a confident communicator.
see you in the next video.
Bye, everyone!